Let's make a character for each D&D class with a strange or unique twist. Barbarians are the class embodied by their D12 for hit dice, and their rage! But what if rage wasn't just blind anger? Now, that isn't a new concept on the internet. There's been the barbarian that cries for you, the barbarian that becomes passive-aggressive, the barbarian that has whatever emotion this is. But what if you flip the script, playing a barbarian who is quick to temper and anger, but when they rage, they're calm and pleasant again? This barbarian used to be a loving spouse and parent until their loved one got murdered, and now, in times of maximal strain, the spirit of their spouse soothes them and gives them determination. Is that too nice for a barbarian? Well, what about a bard whose bardic inspiration was aggression? Yeah, let's flip the script on these two. Question: have you seen Whiplash? Imagine being a bard with such an aggressive need for perfection from others to the point where your bardic inspiration from them is just nervous fear of disappointing them. As a bard, you know the power of words. And of course,
there are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
We all imagine the joyous and carefree spirit of a bard, but art takes on many emotions, and an artist obsessed with perfection would make spells come about in very different ways. Command? Suggestion? Clerics are the envoys of the divine, who devote themselves to their divine mission. So what if you weren't? What if you used to be a divine cleric, but then you died, and something weird happened? A nearby soul accidentally found its way into your body, and now you're playing as a guy who is glad that he didn't have to die, but is terrified of the burden that has been thrust upon him. Maybe the god doesn't know. Or maybe they do. Maybe the god intends to toy with you because you were a bad boy before you died and took over this super cool cleric's body. And this is your chance to redeem yourself. Like a really weird isekai. Druids work alongside nature and turn into animals. A pretty simple description for a fairly complex class, and I've gone over the idea of a robot, aka a very unnatural guy, being more natural by becoming metal beasts, but what if we went the other way? What if you were an alien species or an automaton of some kind from another world entirely, and you really don't get this whole nature thing? You would be great as a druid. In your world, where the stone moss that you walk on is blood red and the stained glass trees are easy to break down. But in this world? What's a rabbit? And why won't it let me drink it? By doing this, your magic, and especially your wild shapes, are all wrong, and you leave otherworldly stains of your alien magic in this world, and very confusing footprints in the dirt. Fighters. They're good at fighting. How can I... Oh, okay. What if you were a squire? Now, this isn't very genre-defying or anything, but I think we tend to choose these characters and make them very heroic and badass. But I've long since yearned to play as someone's assistant, like the friar helping out Van Helsing in the Hugh Jackman film. And you're playing as a fighter, who doesn't have as much magic as the other guys, so why not be a non-magical squire to a paladin, a cleric, or even a noble sorcerer? I've actually worked the idea of being a squire into a card-based RPG that I'm making, but if there's one guy that is ripe with ideas, it's the monk. Take a look at any anime and you have your character. Take the monk and call them a pugilist and you're a genius. Or just get the pugilist class. Or my class, the incarnate, which lets you be a magical one-punch man sort of character. Go ahead. Click the link below. Go on. I'll wait. But for this video, since monks would look so normal upon viewing one, like no armor, no weapons, no magic, why not play as a commoner who goes ultra instinct in a fight, because within you, there is the soul of a much more capable character. By doing so, you get to play as a fun, comic relief everyman, and a terrifyingly powerful knuckle duster. Paladins are warriors dedicated to an oath. So, why not have a character whose oath is laced with exceptions? Like, I will always protect the innocent. Unless those innocent people were kind of asking for it, like not in a way that would make them not innocent anymore, but they were kind of being a douche, and also not if they owe me money and it's an hour or so before or afternoon and they happen to be fans of the second Joker movie. Let's see you be an oathbreaker then. Rangers love surviving, unlike other classes who love not surviving. We've seen a lot of noble and super cool rangers, but what about just weird Bear Grylls? Like, imagine a guy who can explore the wilds but teeters on gaining a point of exhaustion whenever he hasn't gone an hour without drinking his own piss, and when you check on him to see how his hunting's going, he's just grabbing snacks off a hidden camera crew. But what about Rogue? And what if the usual throat-slitting kleptomaniac was instead a guy who was trying to return an item that they had stolen? Maybe it's because of guilt, maybe it's because without the thing that they had stolen, something bad happened, or after taking this item from a mummy's tomb, they became cursed. And now you're more of a repenting and noble-hearted rogue who is trying to right his wrongs. Sorcerers are wellsprings of magic, gained from having magic infused into them. Maybe a dark ritual, maybe a draconic bloodline, but what if you just played an orc who ate a magic user? Where does your power come from? Well, some guy tried to throw ouchie fire at me, so I clubbed him over the head and I ate him. And now I can make ouchie fire! Warlocks are dark communers with an otherworldly power. But what if it was more simple? What if you're the sibling of another member of the party? And you so happen to be the favourite child, and as a result, you get all of Daddy's magical powers while they had to work for it, until they were a super cool fighter or scholarly wizard. And speaking of wizards, they're all about arcane lore and mastering magic. But if there's one thing about magic school, it's that it's rife with student debt. So what if you didn't come to D&D and leave your worries behind, and instead you played as a crippling in-debt student? Just think of how easily you could roleplay that character, and think of the benefits. They're great at surviving off whatever food they can scrounge, and they're used to ploughing through painful endeavours in the promise of maybe some kind of reward, maybe. This whole adventuring malarkey is easy by comparison. And there's no coursework. Score! Thank you for watching. I'm Ellis, and click the video on screen to see more fun character ideas from fiction and my own imagination. I love you all, and I'll see you next Saturday.